Because fuck that movie, you know, just fuck it and it's fucking fuck with a bunch of fuck on fire.
Man of Steel, by the way.
Yeah.
Dude, you only saw the last scene, though.
I don't care. That last scene was an egregious violation of everything I believe in as a nerd. It's like, you know what, there's source material, and I get not sticking to it to a point. It's a movie, you know, we gotta change some stuff, but explain to me for just one moment that atmosphere bullshit with, like, Superman needs the atmosphere, and that was a pointless change to continuity. Literally, there's no reason. The movie is not benefited by them saying the atmosphere is what makes Superman stronger.
Well, it wasn't the atmosphere. It was the atmosphere and the sun.
But that is a pointless inclusion of the atmosphere. Because originally it was just the sun.
He goes into space!
And if he goes into space, shouldn't he have been completely, like, depowered if the atmosphere is a half of this equation or something? Or should have half of his powers have gone away or something? I don't know, but it makes no sense, because the atmosphere gives me power, but I'm completely the same powerful when I'm not in it.
But Zod was a cool character. I mean, dude, the actor was acting for the fences, man.
Oh, sure, he was acting well, but you know what? They fucked his character with a broadsword. Like...
What? Wait, what? I mean...
He was a mustache-twirling evil villain at first. He was not, I'm for the good of Krypton. No, it was like, fuck Krypton. I'm evil. I'm gonna do what I want, because I'm powerful, and you're not.
So it's not evil enough they decided, I'm gonna start killing my own people and basically genocide a whole shit ton of them so I can rebuild everything as I...
That was par for the course for Zod in original continuity. That was not special. Oh, genocide, that was his daily plan. Like, that was on his itinerary for regular... Wake up, attempt genocide on humanity. Like, that was in the itinerary for regular plans. This wasn't a special thing.
And then, of course, there's the, like, oh, well, now I'm on a new planet with a yellow sun, and suddenly there's all these confusing things with X-ray vision and...
Except Zod actually was one of the, you know, big people involved in understanding the powers of Kryptonians and exploiting that in the old continuity. Like, that was part of what his deal was. He understood that yellow suns gave them powers, and he wanted to exploit that to become like a race of conquerors for Krypton. He wanted to enslave people. He wanted to, you know, do all the bad things you can think of, basically. And that was on, like, the morning plan for him.
Well, like you mentioned, it's like, you know, okay, when he took off his breather and it's suddenly, like, all this shit is happening, it's like a huge weakness for him. But you were telling me how one of his plans was to tether a bunch of yellow suns around a planet to be able to just, like, I am constantly supercharged.
Yes.
I am God.
He wanted to make, basically, a planet where he and other Kryptonians that followed his way were the supreme lords and masters of everything. Where they were unopposable gods, because he was an arrogant fuck. And he wanted to be immortal, invincible, and unopposed. And he wanted that no matter the cost. And quite frankly, he wanted that, well, as much cost as you could put in there.
The most evil that he got in the movie was, again, the fact of, you know, you're talking about genocide. Yes, and I'm arguing its merits with a ghost. And the fact that he wanted to sever the degenerate bloodlines that led us to this point. But it was for the greater good of his people.
See, original Zod gave no shits about greater good. He was for the greater evil.
He was for, I want to be in charge.
He was involved in the destruction of Krypton.
This is the reason they had to be put in the Phantom Zone.
Yes.
Because, you know...
And let's mention that for just a moment.
Okay.
The end of that fight scene, which is where if I had a hat, I would have thrown it. I don't have a hat, so I didn't throw it, but I would have.
I showed the scene, like, he's been telling me about this all night while we're having nerdery talk, and I specifically... Like, we're watching through this scene because I wanted him to appreciate how the acting was good and shit, and it's like, oh, fuck. I remember how it ends.
And Superman snaps Zod's neck. Now, if anybody knows anything about Superman and Zod and all of that, that's not happening. Like, no, that's not a thing that happens.
It's not possible.
The way you deal with Zod is the Phantom Zone.
That's it. If he's on a planet with a yellow sun, you either banish him, or you kill him with kryptonite, or he's there, and he's alive. These are the only options available to you. Phantom Zone, death by kryptonite, or not dealing with him.
Bones are unbreakable, muscles are unterrible.
Skin is impenetrable. Like, this is just how it works. You could sooner break Superman. You could sooner basically blow up the universe than you could break Superman's neck on Earth, or break Zod's neck on Earth. Like, it's
And you can wear down Kryptonians, but they wear down equally.
yeah.
I was about to say, I mean, Doomsday fought against Superman on Earth, and he died.
Except not.
Except not. Because he can't die.
He can't die with a yellow sun.
You can wear him down and blow through his stores of energy.
But then he's got to rest. He's got to chill for a while, not die.
It's like at best the thing you would be able to do with Superman without, and this is without kryptonite and whatnot, if you just have someone like Doomsday just beating the fuck out of him, is to continuously incapacitate him.
Yeah.
So
he'll get back up.
snap the neck on Zod.
What? Or that part where he's zapping the heat vision at the people, but he can't quite hit them because Superman's got him in like a headlock. And it's like, first and foremost, those people would have been on fire because they were right next to heat vision.
The heat vision was this fucking close to them.
And if I'm that close to something that has the heat of the sun, I'm on fire. In fact, I'm already ash.
I was about
it's
to-
already over. I'm dead.
Lava, normal lava, like molten in front of you, sets you on fire like 6
Or how
feet
about
away
that
from it.
minor error of why wasn't the building becoming molten? It just the walls were cracking.
Well, just consider.
Except they were being subjected to solar intense heat. They were not turning into fucking magma.
Well, not to mention the fact that all of the heat vision was like very
Pinpoint.
Yeah, pinpoint. It was not field of vision.
Because
They
they
could
do that.
control that, especially with the way Zod's whole thing was. I was born to master my skills, so he's supposed to be mastering this shit, right?
Except
All that continuity, he had no idea at least.
And that's the thing. And this is the continuity
Nice
that
skill.
kids are going to be exposed to first with Superman now.
and then people are gonna be like, this is how Superman works with the atmosphere and blah blah blah. It's like no. Now there's been a lot of Superman continuities and they've changed shit over time, but this is, I think, is probably the worst, most egregious change of continuity I've ever seen for a comic book thing. Not mentioning at the X-Men movies.
Oh my god. Oh my god. But yeah, I mean, even the minor fucking shit about, you were telling me about how early on, American government said jump, he said how high.
He stood for, like I told you, truth, justice, and what?
The American way.
And like, he was propaganda. Let's be real. Superman was propaganda when he happened. He's a
Color
product-
scheme much?
He's a product of the times, the 30s and the 40s, when we were at war, where we needed a propaganda figure, a figure sort of encapsulating America's ideas of exceptionalism and power and responsibility.
And they wanted people to see Superman and be like, Americans are all like that.
That was the idea, yes.
We're Boy Scouts and we're all good.
And we're all
Yeah, super
powerful. That was the idea. Was
We're-
America is powerful. We are represented by Superman.
And above all else, in the way that we are most powerful is that we are morally superior in that we will never kill.
I mean,
Not to mention the fact that you physically can't kill Zod, but would he?
no, Superman would not have done that.
He would seal him away and give him a chance to repent.
Yes, because that's one of Superman's biggest deals, is he believed in redemption and the second chances and third chances and fourth chances.
I mean, at that point, I would wager a guess that the reason they wouldn't do that is because they couldn't, because at that point they had said, all right, we've got a phantom engine in the pod that Superman came to the planet in, and if we hit the phantom engine in Zod's ship with that one, then it'll create a black hole and they'll all get sucked up into it, which they did, but Zod was the only one left. So they have to do something with him, because they have to have that final epic battle.
But see, that's bad writing.
Yeah.
It's bad writing how they ended that, because, like, if Superman was, I know what they were trying to go for, he was pushed to the limit, he was about to kill innocents, so he had to do it, but no, we're talking about fucking Superman. He has options. Why didn't he just fly up? Oh, he's zapping people? Let's go up in there. Let's see if you can do that while I'm holding you in a headlock 5 miles in the sky. What stopped that? Because they showed that Zod was not as good at flying as Superman.
Mhm.
He wasn't.
Well, yeah, because he had just fucking learned.
Yeah. So clearly Superman has the advantage on that field.
Mhm.
Why didn't he just say, well, we're going up, up and away, like his catchphrase. And,
It's like, oh, okay.
anything
well,
other than that ending.
As soon as he has, like, the option, it's like they go up into space, and suddenly Zod's like, okay, I just happen to be right at this satellite, probability much.
Oh, and that's the only satellite up there, by the way.
Yeah, and then I'm going to push it back at Superman. He's flying at me, and what's he going to do? Oh,
Get hit by a satellite and care. Wait, what?
What? No, he's going to keep fucking going.
It's not like he was going to save that satellite from destruction or something.
It's not like he gave a fuck about it going down through the atmosphere and just, oh, by the way, happened to go directly down straight back to Metropolis.
Which makes no sense, by the way, based on the fact that the Earth is spinning. He's going to land in the exact location he...
That's what I
Okay.
thought. It's like, these guys are like fighting and like, doing their thing on their way down to the ground, and they land in the exact same fucking place.
Well, that's obviously for dramatic tension.
Of
They have to
course.
fight in that city.
Yeah.
They have to do their big fight in front of people, so people will be like, oh my god. And
So that we can have the import of like all these people are like, at stake.
But one of the points of Superman was that he did not consider himself to be a giant above the people around him.
Also, why are the people still there when the gods are fighting?
That is another question. If I'm in a ruined, burnt out husk of a city because these two titans have decided to go to war with each other and lay waste to the surrounding landscape, I'm going whatever direction they're not.
As opposed to just,
I admit, that looks pretty cool. You have two gods fighting on your planet. Watch that shit as you're running away.
I'd be in awe of everything around me as I'm running.
Yes, you do have the ability to look behind you as you are skedaddling with your feet.
Behind you, fuck, they're destroying the whole goddamn city. You can't look anywhere without...
Or maybe just catch it on TV like everybody else.
Watch it from satellite feeds.
Yeah, in the safety of a place not being wrecked by gods.
The whole movie is fuck in a bucket.
Yes, it is a bucket of fuck, and it made me angry to see even just that one scene. And then, he was telling me stuff about what was happening in it. Earlier parts, I'm just like, no. Every time he said something about what happened, my response is, what the fuck? Every time.
Every time I explained a single bit of it, if I strapped you, I would have to strap you down to make you watch the whole movie.
And then you might turn me into the Hulk.
Because you would want to throw the TV
Yeah.
to make it stop. Because it's offensive to,
It is.
to every one of your comic book nerd sensibilities.
Because I get changes for a movie that are required for a movie. I don't get complete rewrites of continuity for no goddamn reason.
Mhm.
It's like, wait a minute. Like, to bring up a second movie for a moment, X-Men First Class.
Okay.
Not the worst.
Mhm.
Like, it wasn't the worst movie ever.
And as a movie, it's a good movie. But as an X-Men movie, because of your issues of being a purist so far as the source material,
It was crap.
And who's Professor X's first and greatest student?
That would be Cyclops. Let's not forget. Let's not ever forget that
His
for
greatest
all...
accomplishment.
Yes. For all of, Cyclops being a Boy Scout and falling out of favor and all this stuff, and Wolverine sort of becoming the poster boy X-Man, Cyclops was actually Xavier's greatest achievement. He was the one who actually learned to live by the ideals that Xavier taught. He became a Boy Scout because he understood a greater moral purpose. He understood power and responsibility and all of that shit.
and not only that, but for fuck's sake, in every single movie that's ever had anything to do with him, he's painfully, underwhelmingly powerful. This is one of the 12 people who can beat Apocalypse.
Yes, and his eyes are basically gates to another dimension where he blasts forth power, cosmic power.
We're talking the cosmic entities here?
Like, the power cosmic is what makes the Silver Surfer the most powerful Herald of Galactus ever. The power cosmic is what makes anyone, like Havoc, a destroyer of cities. It's what makes the living monolith a god among men when he achieves his apotheosis.
Oh, and that level 5 mutant bullshit.
Oh, right.
They failed to mention that both Storm and Iceman are both.
Well, Iceman doesn't get enough love anyway for that. Iceman being an Omega level mutant, because his power is not the generation of ice. If you know anything about physics, there's no such thing as the generation of cold. There's only the slowing of energy. Cold is the absence of an increased energy state. Cold is, in essence, the slowing down of molecular speed.
That's what absolute zero is.
Is the ceasing of molecular energy.
Yes, it's
And
the molecules
Iceman-
stop.
Iceman's power is actually to slow kinetic energy. He slows molecular energy, which makes him Omega.
They were both officially outed as Omega level mutants in the comics.
Yes, and Storm can control global weather patterns. She could lay waste to the planet if she so chose.
Hey,
the
Ice
world,
Age.
Yeah, the world is now in an ice age. Or, I'm going to remove the cloud cover from the planet. Have fun without rain.
Or I'm going to specifically make this the Matrix world.
And,
No sun anymore and constant storm and lightning.
Yep.
and then Jean Grey is an Omega level mutant.
By herself.
Phoenix Force is a cosmic entity.
Yes. Now, if we're going to talk about those other garbage movies where they had Phoenix in it,
If we're going to do that, we're going to have to go inside because this thing's almost out of power.
okay. Jean Grey, Omega level mutant. Pretty good chick.
By herself.
Phoenix, cosmic entity of godlike power and almost unlimited strength.
Excuse me while I take a nap in a sun.
Yeah. Excuse me while I blow up a sun and kill billions of people.
Well,
Which is Dark Phoenix.
You know,
But
it would
let's
be
talk about
interesting.
that distinction, which they seem to forget entirely in the movie, which is that Jean Grey, with the Phoenix power, was not evil to start. It's not like as soon as she gained the Phoenix power, she just became Dark Phoenix right away. At first, she was Phoenix. She was good. She was attempting to use her powers for great things. And then she became corrupted due to actions of the Hellfire Club, experiencing true evil for the first time, and being a creature unused to physical sensation. The Phoenix became overwhelmed by it, and became evil due to that influx of evil. Now, according to the movie, Phoenix has some kind of power. I don't know what it even was supposed to actually be exactly, but she's just bad to start, and is just doing stuff. She didn't even seem to have a purpose in that movie, or a point. Oh, she's there, and she's like, the point of that movie was Magneto. Actually, the story of the movie was Magneto and them trying to stop the cure thing. Phoenix was just there. Like, if you think about it, she was just there as a side point. Oh,
Actually-
Phoenix is here. She's going to look menacing and stuff, and it's actually all about this cure quest, and she's just there.
Actually, the main thing was all about Logan, apparently, because, you know, he has to be forced to make the decision to kill her and shit like that.
Now let's talk original comic book for a moment.
Oh, God.
You know what happens? They fight against the Shi'ar, right? Because Phoenix becomes Dark Phoenix, Xavier seals away the Phoenix Force because he's that badass, traps it in Jean Grey's own mind, and then they're like, well, we can help you. Shi'ar Empire's like, no. This bitch is crazy and blew up a sun, killed people. We're gonna kill her. And they're like, nuh-uh. And so they have a big throwdown with, you know, the X-Men versus the Shi'ar Royal Guard on the moon. They fight on the moon, and Jean Grey ends up killing herself. That's where it ends. She kills herself because she's being overwhelmed by the Phoenix Force. She lets the fight happen so that she can be weakened. Because she's fighting people like Gladiator. So, like, the fight weakens her, although she's, you know, still Phoenix. But she's weakened enough where even though the Phoenix starts raging, she can gain control enough and is weak enough that she uses an ancient defense mechanism built on the moon by a previous civilization to vaporize herself.
So what happens to the Phoenix then?
It departs. It doesn't have a host anymore.
Ah.
It goes back to being a cosmic entity not trapped in the flesh. It returns to being the pure force of Phoenix.
Okay. And therefore it's not Dark Phoenix. It has no compunction. It doesn't want to go back to being the Dark Phoenix.
No,
or anything.
it doesn't want to be the Dark Phoenix ever. That's a corruption due to physical sensation, something it's not used to. Now, there's also, like, the second host, Hope Summers. Her daughter was Scott Summers. She becomes, like, the perfect host for the Phoenix. There's also the Phoenix 5, which is a totally different story.
But that's like a whole thing where,
Yes.
each of them gets beaten and then the entity goes back into, like, what's left of that goes back into the others that are left, and it ends up as just Cyclops, right?
Who turns into Dark Phoenix, yes.
Because if you got 5 of them, then they can control it in that way, right?
Yeah. Well, they start to be corrupted by it anyway. They start to have the vision of, we're going to make the world better for mutants and all this stuff, but we're so much more powerful than everybody. It's that, giant among ants thing.
And it's that suddenly the good intentions lead to hell.
Yes. And so, but when we're talking about the movie...
That would have made such a better movie!
Oh, yes. But when we're talking about the movie with Phoenix in it, which they somehow decided to call an X-Men movie, we really hit this point of Phoenix, her entire point was wasted. There was not a lesson taught about how incredible power corrupts, about how the power of humanity is the ability to understand the consequences of your actions and take responsibility for it. Like Jean Grey killed herself to take responsibility for what she had become. She wanted to die a human rather than live a god. And that was
And
one
a
of those,
tyrannical one.
and that was one of those monumental points of comic book fandom history. Like, Jean Grey was a pretty well-beloved character. Like, she was part of the X-Men. She was, Marvel Girl.
I can't imagine what happened to Scott after she killed herself.
Yeah, he was a despondent wreck for a while. And then she ends up being alive again, which is kind of some bullshit.
Well, then again, that's how it always works.
Yes. But that whole point of the sacrifice, of the power of the Phoenix, and that point that, absolute power corrupts absolutely, was all thrown out the window by this. And, more to the point, I think, is that she was entirely unnecessary for the movie. They could have had the movie as the fight with Magneto and the Brotherhood versus the X-Men over the Cure without Phoenix there, and it probably would have been better, because they would have been trying to split their attention between 2 main plot arcs. Because Phoenix should be a main plot arc. In fact, if they wanted to make a movie about the Phoenix, that should be the whole fucking movie, is dealing with the Phoenix.
I was about to say, it's like there's either, for the Phoenix, you could make 3 movies out of that if you wanted to, with all the different things that happen with the Phoenix.
Now that would be a good movie.
Yeah, you could have all the different parts of it, what's going on.
Now what makes me nervous is they want to make another X-Men movie.
Oh, of course, they're going to keep milking all this shit.
But they want to make the Days of Future Past storyline. You know what that is, right?
I know it's something they're going to rape.
Yes. It's the future storyline where the Sentinels take over the world. Or at least they take over America in Days of Future Past.
Right.
Because they're programmed with a very liberal AI. And they're told, protect humanity from mutants. Destroy the mutants. These are their orders. So they decide the best way to protect people is to control them. And the Sentinels basically, through the power of Master Mold, which is their ultimate production facility / leader, take over the world with adapting Sentinels. And the original point in the comics was this was a timeline that was prevented.
Right.
Altogether. It was stopped by the actions of all mutants, Kitty Pryde.
Really?
Yeah, Phase Girl. Future Kitty Pryde is sent back in the past by, I can't remember her name. One of the, I really can't remember right now, but one of the mutants whose powers involves, psychic abilities, a telepath, manages to use one of her ultimate techniques, basically, to mind switch past Kitty Pryde with future Kitty Pryde, and sends Days of Future Past Kitty Pryde's mind into Kitty Pryde of the 80s. And so she ends up preventing the assassination of Senator Kelly, who was, his assassination was going to basically be that cornerstone of the new Sentinels.
Right.
He was assassinated by evil mutants. We need to protect ourselves. So let's build the Sentinels again.
That was the catalyst, yeah.
They end up preventing that with her, stopping the blind precog Destiny, who was going to assassinate him. But since she was from the future, she was an unstable element in time. Destiny could not foresee her. And so she was able to phase in at the last moment, stop the crossbow, save Senator Kelly, stop the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and stop the Days of Future Past timeline from even happening. I'm going to take a guess right now and say that what I just described is not what the movie's going to be.
Yeah, maybe not anything fucking like that at all. I mean, I can't imagine that they'd be able to get any of this shit right, like the future timeline of Apocalypse.
The Age of Apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a great movie too.
And of course, they would fuck it up.
Of course they would.
I don't fucking get it. I mean, okay, I understand that, like, there's disagreements between nerds and shit. Like, some of them think that Thor is more powerful than, oh my god, like, all of these cosmic entities and shit. I mean, they have Thor at, like, what, second on a list, and they don't even have the one who's above all?
The one above all?
As
God?
Yeah, they don't even have him on there at all.
Like, if we're talking about the most powerful Marvel characters, the list must start with the one above all, if you're trying to be absolutely inclusive. And then you have to go into cosmic entities. You have to go into things like eternity, death, Lord Order, Master Chaos, all that shit.
It's when you're getting down the list that you eventually get to people like Odin.
One of the accurate lists had, like, some of the mainstream heroes coming in at, like, 80.
Out of 100.
Because, like, you have everything from, like, the Beyonder, the In-Betweener, Lady Death, Thanos. Because, like, if Thor's above Thanos in your list, you've already fucked it up. Thanos
beats the hell out of Thor.
Oh, yeah. Without the Infinity Gauntlet. If he has the Infinity Gauntlet, oh, you're Thor? Out.
Yeah, if he had the Infinity Gauntlet, that's pretty much anybody, except for the people who actually are above him on that list.
Mm-hmm.
Or the one list that had Thor above Black Bolt.
And, like, let's take a side note for a moment here about fanboyism. I get that people have their favorite characters. I do too. I love them. But you know what? Don't sit there and try to say that, oh, my favorite character is Thor, so Thor is the most powerful character in the setting. No.
It's like, even on those lists, they mention things like Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet. It's like, if you're going to put Thor that high, you have to say Thor with Odin Force.
Yes. Because Thor, as the next leader of Asgard, having inherited the Odin Force, he's a cosmic entity then. He's one of the protectors of the universe, basically.
One of the godheads.
Yes.
Watch over the 9 realms.
Yes. A protector of all different things. A powerful force. But Thor, just Thor, he's powerful, sure. Don't get me wrong. He's real.
Thunder, level 100 strength.
Yeah, he's super powerful. But in the Marvel continuity, ultra powerful strength is not a big deal.
Because, I'm sorry...
Reality shapers.
Yes.
Even the Hulk can beat him. But you know what? Molecule Man?
Psst. Yeah. Or, I don't know. Let's say the Beyonder. Just, you don't have those powers.
I don't feel like letting you have them anymore.
Mm-hmm. Or like, if you even want to take up that fight with,
Thanos.
Yeah, Thanos. You've got...
I'm going to flick you and I'm accidentally going to destroy half the galaxy in the process.
Yeah, with the Infinity Gauntlet. Uh-oh.
Sentry.
Sentry. Sentry is one of the most powerful.
What is it, Doctor Strange?
Oh, yes. Doctor Strange. The Sorcerer Supreme. Basically, the living nexus of magical force. He is the gateway by which magic is accessed. He's not just, the Sorcerer Supreme. He is basically the gateway by which magic is accessed by people.
This brings up in my mind Galactus. And did you see the Fantastic Four movies?
No.
Oh, God.
I refused.
Good.
When they were like, they're putting Galactus in a movie, I'm like, that's going to be garbage. They will never put Galactus in a film and make it worthwhile.
Oh, by the way, they didn't show him. He was this giant ominous cloud of whirly typhoon, like cyclone thing coming towards the planet that was going to eat it, but there was no actual Galactus.
Galactus is not a cloud formation.
I know.
Galactus is...
Giant dude.
Yeah, he's real giant, and he's a dude and he eats planets with his mouth. Like, I'm gonna eat your planet, om nom nom. Like, what? Are you... And, like, I guarantee you they didn't put the Silver Surfer in there accurately.
Actually, they kind of got him right with the whole... he had no choice. He was doing it. All he was doing to spare his planet,
And did they fight the Silver Surfer or do anything other than get beat?
they didn't actually fight him. Like they as characters, really, they didn't actually fight him because he didn't really want to fight them. In turn, the only thing that happened so far as like the Silver Surfer really directly attacking them was he attacked Doctor Doom, and you know what happened? Doctor Doom was trying to get rid of all the metal shit covering him and whatnot. So the Silver Surfer hit him with a blast, and it turned him back into a normal-looking human.
What?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. He mutated.
All of his metal stuff that was like ingrained in his skin and whatnot just started like dissolving away and whatnot.
That's supposed to be armor. It's supposed to be a vibranium-laced armor.
Wait.
They had it so the Doctor Doom in that movie, his cosmic
he
thingy
mutated
was
the same way the Fantastic Four did.
Yeah.
What?
And he became metal skin, dude.
What?
Oh, and by the way, he stole the Silver Surfer's board. And
What? Silver Surfer's powered by the power cosmic. He'd beat you to death before he'd let you take a surfboard.
No, what they did was, you see, what's his fuck?
Or he'd just disintegrate you.
Mr. Fantastic. He created a thing that He created a thing that, like, you set up 4 different pods or whatever, and like inside this field, the Silver Surfer is suddenly separated from his board, where the actual power is.
Wait, the power's in his board?
That's the way it worked. When he shot that blast at Doctor Doom.
I feel like my nose is gonna bleed.
I know!
suddenly. Like my brain is gonna leak out of my eyeballs.
When he shot Doctor Doom with that cosmic blast, the energy seeped up from the board into him, and he shot it out.
But
And when he was separated from his board, he suddenly wasn't silvery anymore because it was the silver board.
no, he was given
He was suddenly like dark grayish and shit.
he was given the power cosmic by being the Herald of Galactus, basically.
Which allowed him to do stuff like matter surfing.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. He would like, just matter surf like straight through things. Like the Human Torch was trying to keep up with him, and actually kind of succeeded a bit.
No, not even close.
Shouldn't have.
I know.
Silver Surfer can go faster than light speed.
Yeah. He can fly through space. Like,
So-
just like it's no big deal.
Yeah, so what did he do? He was like, oh, this guy's chasing me, so I'm going to stop and just like catch him by the neck. Fly him up into space so that he's like, okay, you win. And then drop him. Instead of just going, I don't feel like dealing with you, and gone.
Because,
Or-
yeah, you go faster than light. And also, what? Like,
And when you got hit like that, it causes like your molecules to shift. So when he touched the Human Torch, he dropped him, and he couldn't really use his powers right. He touches the thing, their power switch. It's a little thing in a scene, and they switch him right back.
what? What?
And then he touches what's her fuck, the chick.
Sue Storm?
Yeah, he touches her. Suddenly she has his powers, so she sets herself on fire, sets her clothes on fire. Of course, this is whatever the actress is that's so hot and everything. She was the dancer in Sin City. She, sets her clothes on fire, falls down to the street, and she's just naked. So when he runs down and goes, okay, I'm going to touch you and switch back, now she's naked. So, of course, she has to do her invisible stuff because we have to have our fan service. Because that's more important than
So
anything
she'll
fucking...
never be able to be invisible again and with clothes on because her costume's what allows that. Because it has the same energy in it as they do.
Yeah. There's a whole thing with that.
Well, that's the thing. They did
the
that.
suit that they were wearing in space at the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the movie, she was wearing normal clothes. That's the only reason they burned off of her and everything.
Well, her suit was actually empowered by the same, radiation that she was, which is part of why it could turn invisible with her. If she wore clothes that were normal and she turned invisible, they were visible. She'd do that Invisible Man thing with the trench coat with nobody in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what she did in the movie. That's why she turned invisible when she realized she was naked on the street. But their suits, they did that right, yeah.
Their suit should turn invisible with them.
They did.
But
That's what I'm
there's
saying.
no replacement for that suit, is the point. If she burnt her suit away or something.
Wait, oh no, they don't wear their suits all the time in the movie.
Okay. Okay, they were inseparable from those suits normally.
I love how I'm just talking about,
Like,
because I don't know these things.
inseparable.
That's the thing. I'm a layman in all this, so I'm just talking about what I know from what I've seen, and I love how every
It's not
single
like they
time
never ever took them off, but I'll tell you what they wouldn't do. Silver Surfer's running around. She's not running around in normal clothes.
Well, they didn't know the Silver Surfer was around then yet. They were trying to get married, and the whole thing was she was pissed that, or despondent over the fact that she couldn't have a normal wedding because they always have to save the world.
Wow, they ruined her character then. She was one of the people who stepped up to the plate when shit was rough. She was like, yeah, we're the Fantastic Four, bitches, you know?
In this, it was all about, like, Richards is trying to do his experiments. He's trying to find out what's going on with the Silver Surfer because he's getting all these readings of this cosmic energy and the stuff that's going on, and because he's marking Earth as for Galactus and all, and so their wedding.
How'd
is
they
coming
beat
up.
him? How'd they stop it?
The Silver Surfer sacrificed himself.
Okay. That's a completely different ending that makes no sense.
He flew like directly into one of the tentacle things coming down, or no, into the main body of the thing that was sending down the little tentacle things to the Earth to eat it.
Isn't it supposed to be he promises Galactus a whole bunch more worlds just to spare that one?
Yeah.
Apparently, the whole thing was he talked to the chick, and she was like, he started to empathize with us and whatnot because we're kind of human like him too, and so why are you destroying our planet? I have no choice, and eventually decided he had a choice, but I guess he decided he wanted. I don't fucking know.
And what happened to Galactus? He just died?
I don't even. It's one of those throwaways of he made it so that he was like teleported away or some shit. I think not destroyed, but just he's not here anymore.
Why would the
Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
He
First off,
fucking, I'm gonna fly into you and sacrifice myself so that you're just not here destroying this planet anymore. Because bad writing.
because first off, if the Silver Surfer decided to oppose Galactus, thanks, I'm taking my hero powers back. And two, you're gonna fly into my gullet? Okay, thanks for playing. Now you're dead. Next.
Thanks for giving me a nice boost of power again.
No, that's so insignificant.
I was about to say, for me, such a tiny little insignificant little boost, whatever.
This guy eats planets full of life. One dude throwing himself in his gullet, that'd be like, oh, I'm full because a gnat flew down my throat. No. And besides...
And again, going back to the thing, Dr. Doom steals the board and becomes Silver Surfer powered.
That's not even how that works. That's not even remotely related to how that works. Ugh. And one of the things, how they stop Galactus when he shows up is with something called the Ultimate Nullifier.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't only stop him, Richard is like, hey Galactus, I'm willing to play this game with you. If you try to eat the planet, I'll end existence. I will turn on the Ultimate Nullifier and wipe it all out. Play with me. And Galactus is like, fuck. I could crush you like an insect, but you'd wipe out existence because you actually have the balls to do it. I'll be back later.
Wait till you die.
Yeah.
The most badass that Richard got in that movie was when he talked to one of the generals and was like, "You'd better start treating me and my friends with some respect. Yes, I was the nerd in school, you were the quarterback and such, and now I'm going to be married to the hottest woman on the planet. I'm one of the greatest scientists, all this different stuff, and now I'm all Billy Badass and whatnot." That's as confident as he got, was he gave him a little speech like that, and Chick was like, "I'm so hot for you right now."
No,
That's
Mr.
it.
Fantastic is a badass. Stretchy power. That's not his real power. His two real powers are his amazing intellect and his iron will.
Mm-hmm. He's another one of the smartest men in the room. Peter Parker, Bruce Banner, Tony Stark.
Hank Pym. Which they're making an Ant-Man movie. the other identity of Hank Pym.
Oh.
He took on a couple names, basically as big ego issues, and for a while he was Ant-Man when he first just understood how to shrink with the Pym particle.
Uh-huh.
But then he became all like pissed off because I'm tiny and everybody else is big, and like, I'm tired of being this little guy because, well, I'm the best guy there is because he's an arrogant fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they're going to get that right in the movie. Hank Pym is a bastard. He is not a good person. He's the smartest man in the room, but he's also a wife-beating douchebag.
Actually, is he actually, like, probably, you could say, the smartest person in the room, considering the Pym particle is something only he could create and utilize?
Tony Stark knows that Hank Pym's smarter than he is.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
And even with his arrogance,
that's what I'm saying.
He knows Pym's smarter than him.
That's what I'm saying is that, one, you've got Tony Stark's arrogance. Two, Tony Stark is the man who created the Phoenix Buster.
Yes.
And yet he admits that this guy is smarter than him.
The only reason Hank Pym hasn't like single-handedly revolutionized everything is because he's kind of insane. Mm-hmm. He has ego issues that are bigger than he is when he's in giant form. Like, and although he ended up with a hot as shit wife.
So
Wasp? Holy shit.
So let's mess up her face, I guess.
So, let's beat the shit out of her sometime. Well, he basically has, again, ego issues, and a lot of people don't respect him because he's crazy. So, like, one of the scenes is, like, his wife is kind of arguing with him, and basically, at one point, she calls him a small man for his ideals, because he's so fixated on just himself, and, like, I'm going to invent this for my prestige and all this, and she's like, you're a small person. And then he starts beating the shit out of her. You shouldn't have called me small. But, like, I'm really curious to see if they're going to whitewash him.
Yeah, I know, right?
Because he's kind of a drunk, he's an asshole, a wife-beating, arrogant prick.
If they're going to try and humanize him and make him relatable or some shit, make him the hero of the movie.
Oh, he's also a good guy, too, in a way. Like, he's a hero in the sense that he fights evil. He stands against evil.
No, but you get my point
Yes.
of making him a relatable hero.
Yes. Like, Tony Stark was sort of an asshole. They kind of played that down some in the movie, so they kept it to a point.
Well, Pym's more of a hero because of the fact he wants attention and people like him.
Yes. He fights to save the world mostly, again, for that ego.
Mm-hmm.
If he saves the world when no one else could, he's the best.
Right.
And everybody will love him then.
Yep. And the sort of ironic tragedy of his character is the one person who actually loves him for who he is the one that suffers the brunt of his rage.
His wife.
Mm-hmm. Well, Wasp eventually leaves him, and then he becomes a complete mess.
Mm-hmm.
Because without that sort of unconditional love coming to him, his ego has nothing to brace itself on. Oh, everybody hates me? Before he had, well, Wasp still loves me. When she leaves him, well, everybody hates me. And there's nothing to change that. There's no counterpoint.
It's just, so at that point it's kind of like, fuck everybody? Or?
Well, he becomes a mess. He stops inventing. He stops fighting.
Oh.
His ego has no basis, so he falls apart.
Mm. And of course, none of this will be in the movie.
I mean, I hope it will. I really do. Because Ant-Man could be one of those sort of unusual movie stories where no one's actually like a black and white hero. Where you look at what's happening and, well, I can't really sympathize with anyone past a certain point.
It's just ambiguous, and that's the thing. But that's the thing. They hate that. Fucking Hollywood hates that shit. It's always good triumph over evil.
Yeah.
Especially with the comic book movies.
Oh, yes.
I mean,
I want to see a Hercules movie. Talk about morally ambiguous movie character. Hercules is a good guy. He fights evil. He stands for, like, justice and stuff, but his justice.
and again, he's also a womanizing drunkard who just loves to fight.
He loves to fight, fucking feast. Like, that really sums him up. And also, he likes to just go around and just do stuff. Oh, I'm Hercules. I'm going to enter a regular street brawl. and I'm going to punch you through a wall because I can.
God power without God politics.
Yep. He's just wandering the world doing whatever he wants. Although sometimes Zeus is like, hey, stop that shit. When he gets too out of hand.
Zeus is another one of the ones that's like Thor is to Odin as Hercules is to Zeus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because Zeus is one of the bearers of a god force.
Mm.
He's one of the protectors of... I can't remember if he protects the Nine Realms too, or if he has a different role in that. But he's also a possessor of a god force.
He might be one of the godheads then, yeah.
Oh, he is.
Oh, okay.
I just don't remember what his specific role in the godheads was.
Okay.
Like, Odin is the watcher of the Nine Realms. Zeus has a purpose, I just don't remember which one it is.
Okay.
But...
Are any of the new generation kids going to know any of this shit?
No.
Not going to know any of the great fucking stories that have been going into this shit that's been written in here, into this whole universe. Both universes, DC and Marvel. For
I want to
fucking
finally see a
decades.
good Hulk movie, too.
Yeah, I know, right?
But the problem is, like, for the most part, Hulk is not a main character.
Mm-mm.
But, except when we're talking about Green Scar Hulk, Planet Hulk, when he has a personality.
And when he actually, like, is just the Hulk.
Or they sent him to another planet just because they were tired of him.
Mm-hmm.
Because the group known as the Illuminati, who are a collection of the most powerful, well, the most smart and well-connected and somewhat powerful people in the world, like Iron Man, Charles Xavier,
Black Bolt.
Black Bolt, Doctor Strange. They decide that the Hulk is too dangerous for the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
The
Because
Illuminati also all possess Infinity Gems.
they're the keepers of the 6 gems that go in the gauntlet when they're not there. They're the ones who hold on to them.
God, they downplay these people's powers. I mean,
I know. Tony Stark has an Infinity Gem. But he chooses not to use it, which is why the Illuminati are given them. They're the people who, whether through arrogance, responsibility, or simple inability to use that specific power, will not use the Infinity Gems, but keep them safe. Like, Tony Stark's too arrogant to use that power.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't invent it. Why would he use it? But, they send him to another planet because, you know, he's the Hulk and he could break the planet when he gets mad.
Yeah.
So
we're tired of having our planet almost
they
broken
try
by
to
you.
send him to a peaceful planet with, it's got plant life, a few minor animals, but nothing to really piss you off or threaten you. You'll be happy and peaceful forever here. He gets sucked into a wormhole instead because he rampages in the ship. He's like, Hulk no like ship. Smash. And so ship goes off course, flies into a wormhole, ends up in one of the most dangerous planets in the entire universe, Sakaar, where, like, the random bugs will just kill you.
The gnats are the thing that would kill a human.
Yeah. And, like, everybody there is a badass. Like, even the random commoners, the weak race there, powerful warriors. But they're weak there.
Mm-hmm.
Because, well, everybody there's a badass. Hulk gets married there. Hulk has a kid. Not Bruce Banner. Hulk
Yeah. Hulk.
has a kid. The kid's Scar. Born of, well, Hulk power and the power of a planet. Because his mother could tap into the strength of the planet for her powers. One of the only people to fight Hulk to a standstill.
Really?
Because she's tapping into the strength of a whole planet.
Well, yeah, the first thing that comes to mind for me is Ego.
Ego the Living World?
Yeah.
Well, it's not quite like that.
But I mean, like, how powerful.
Yes. Like, she actually just blocks Hulk punching. I mean, it knocks her, like, about 3 feet into the ground.
But she just blocks it.
Yeah. But yeah, he gets, sent there and fights gladiatorial competitions all the time, can't transform out of the Hulk state because, well, everything on the planet will kill Bruce Banner. All the time. If he's not Hulk for a moment, he'll die.
Mm-hmm. So,
Hulk learned. Hulk becomes the Green King of that planet. He rules the world.
Mm-hmm.
As a good ruler, actually. He's an effective, good ruler.
Mm-hmm.
Primitive, but he's ruling a planet filled with monsters and badasses. You need to sort of have that primitive, primal edge to your rule to survive.
I was about to say, it's like, he's the right person for the job. as opposed to when Logan became the leader of the X-Men.
Oh yeah, and Wolverine and the X-Men.
Uh-huh.
Well, he was the right person for the job. It was because of his flaws he was the right person for the job. He was not a great leader, which is what led him to bring back the X-Men together, because they were all flawed now. They had been out of the X-Men for a while. Rogue was flirting with evil at that point. She was she'd almost joined the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. The other X-Men were trying to, Cyclops had basically become a despondent, angry asshole because Jean Grey was gone. They needed that flawed leader with problems in order to relate, in a sense. Xavier, at that point, would have been too perfect.
Cyclops rampage in this point.
He's just like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Blast and fuck. Yeah, he does that in one of the episodes where he's just like, oh, we're fighting the Brotherhood? Fuck shit. I have laser eyes. And just start shooting shit. I'm going to blow up this. You're on a building? Blow it up. Unrestrained Cyclops is ridiculous.
Well, again, he's one of the few who can defeat Apocalypse.
As part of the Engine of 12, yes.
Yeah.
But, if I were to, because we're still just nerd raging,
Yeah.
if I were to bring up another little point for the movies, talking about Cyclops, I am not a fan of Cyclops. And I was amused by the third movie just off-screen killing him. But, if I were to get over, now, observe, fanboys, what I'm about to do, please, observe. And if I were to get over my fanboy hate of Cyclops, for a moment here, and just...
Impossible!
And actually, look at the continuity and all this stuff without my personal biases, that was complete shit. Cyclops is, as we noted before, the greatest achievement of Xavier. His best student. The one who lives the life and the morals that Xavier taught. That great power, great responsibility Spider-Man shit, Where I'm a powerful mutant, but I should only use my powers for good. I should only use my powers to help people, although I have laser eyes that could blow up whatever I'm angry at. He's sort of Xavier's poster boy for this is how mutants should live.
That's, he's one of the Boy Scouts of the universe.
That's why Logan calls him a Boy Scout regularly, because he lives by Xavier's ideals. Because he is that kind of a person. And to really just off-screen kill him like that was some bullshit. It amused me personally. But as a fan of the series X-Men and what it means, that was garbage.
The whole series is written around Scott and Jean.
Yes. Which, by the way, is an important note to make for all the Wolverine fans. The series is written around the union of Jean Grey and Scott Summers being the most powerful combination of two people ever. Their child, Hope Summers, is the perfect host for the Phoenix. She becomes what is known as the White Crown Phoenix, which is Phoenix in its perfect state.
Really? Not just a cosmic entity, but in physical form and not dark.
Yes. The White Crown Phoenix is basically perfect Phoenix, manifested to its full capabilities in a host perfectly aligned with it. Jean Grey learns to do that later, after Hope does it, because she reaches a sort of more inner peace and such. But Hope is sort of the savior of the world. She is the perfect host for the Phoenix Force. She is Hope.
That's a question, as a final note, because this is getting long. Who would win in a fight? Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet, or...
The White Crown Phoenix? I don't think there's an answer.
That's one of those ones that just depends.
Yeah, I don't think there's a definitive answer to that. Just one would beat the other.
Probably mainly depending on mentalities at the time.
Yeah.
Actually, wait. Well, again, okay, that's the thing. Whenever nerds bring that question, actually, that's an issue, is who's going to beat who? They usually mean who would win, as in who would defeat the other. But that's impossible for these two beings.
Well, one could technically defeat the other, depending on mentality, circumstances, and cost of battle. If they were to fight Infinity Gauntlet Thanos versus White Crown Phoenix, there wouldn't be a universe.
Yeah.
Well, it's also how Thanos goes about it. If he uses, time shards and stuff like that to go back before she even gave it.
if he uses the time gem of the Infinity Gauntlet, he'd go back and just destroy, like, Hope Summers as a child or something. Or he could kill the Phoenix by erasing all other life, because the Phoenix is the manifestation of the sum total of life and evolution. If he used the death aspect of the Infinity Gauntlet and removed all life, Phoenix is powerless.
And Thanos doesn't have a problem with doing that.
No. The only reason he didn't wipe out all life instead of just half of it was because he thought that if he just waved his hand and made every living creature disappear right off the bat, Death wouldn't even be impressed. He had to give him a chance.
Because he actually gave them all a sporting chance after he wiped out half life of the universe and still defeated all the heroes handily.
He didn't use the full power of the Infinity Gauntlet to fight them at that point. He wiped out half of life to start things, and then was like, alright, I'll fight you, but let's do it one hand behind my back, basically. And still beat them all.
And that's the whole thing about how he cuts his own legs out from underneath him.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the conundrum there of how he can never die and be with Lady Death.
Yes. Thanos is actually a pretty complicated character.
And of course, they're not going to do him justice in the next Avengers movie.
I don't know.
Thanos, in the end, ended up being a farmer.
Yep. When he was finally killed by pretty much his own... He let himself die in the moment where he could die.
Mm-hmm.
There was a moment where he could die. And so he dropped his defenses in that moment and let himself die. But he can't fully die, so he was reborn.
Mm-hmm.
He was reborn as a common farmer.
Yeah, because
Just farming. Quite happy.
so what happened was he defeated, like, conceptual forces and took their place. And the gauntlet was left behind on his body. And his daughter came behind him and undid everything he did.
Because she grabbed the time gem and the full Infinity Gauntlet and then said that timeline, crush.
Mm-hmm.
And destroyed that entire timeline.
God, this is so awesome! Why isn't this stuff made into movies?
Well, they're going to put Thanos, like you noted.
Yeah.
But the movie's called The Age of Ultron. Which, you know, we've talked about Hank Pym, so I do want to address this part.
Okay.
Ultron.
Mm-hmm.
Hank
Creates
Pym's...
Ultron. He creates Ultron.
Yep. Hank Pym's greatest and most terrible creation is Ultron. The ultimate weapon. He created Ultron to basically be the hero without morals. To be the hero that was capable of just fighting the villains all the time. Destroying any of the villains. Sort of, you know, his answer to villainy was Ultron. I've created the perfect warrior.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the problem. He based its AI on his own brain. Yep. And he is crazy pants. So, his AI...
Arrogance.
Mm-hmm. His arrogance, his craziness, and the complete lack of human morals combined to make Ultron into a murderous monster. Of course, at one point there's, you know, we've talked about the days of future past, we've talked about the age of apocalypse. Now we should talk about the age of Ultron. When Ultron takes over the world by himself, Ultron is built to adapt to his foes and create a counter-response. Like,
But Onslaught.
Onslaught was, he'd been dealt with. Onslaught was defeated.
Okay.
Ultron is impossible to defeat. He's an AI. His body's irrelevant. Oh, you beat my body? I have another 20,000. Oh, and then he gets an adamantium vibranium body.
Mm-hmm.
An alloy of adamantium and vibranium.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's his body. Come at me, bro.
Vibranium, isn't that the stuff that Captain America's shield is made of?
Actually, they kind of messed it up ever so slightly. Not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to hate on the Captain America movie, really. But his shield is actually vibranium adamantium. It's the alloy.
Oh.
Which is why his shield is completely unbreakable and nullifies kinetic force. Because you can break vibranium. It's just very difficult and only certain things can do it. Adamantium can do it, normally. But vibranium adamantium can't be broken.
Gamma radiation breaks down vibranium.
Yep. So the Hulk can break vibranium. Because he radiates it.
Right.
But Ultron basically could single-handedly take over the world. Basically, he infests all computers. That's how he does it. He just implants his AI into everything.
Yeah.
All technology is Ultron.
Well, he becomes the equivalent to Skynet.
Yes.
Well, it's also part of his downfall was him having the same arrogance that him had and created Vision.
Yep. He created a hero known as the Vision.
Another AI robot that turned against Ultron.
Mm-hmm. He's in the Avenger game, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the Vision was instrumental in defeating Ultron because he was intimately aware of Ultron's plans, his thought processes being created by him. And the Vision's powers are great.
Mm-hmm.
Molecular distortion.
Mm-hmm.
He can phase through matter.
Mm-hmm.
He can become intangible, invisible. He can manipulate mass.
Oh, so I was thinking, so he's like Kitty, but no, that's just one thing
Yes.
he can do.
He has basically a more limited form of molecule man.
That's what I was about to say, exactly, yeah.
He has molecular manipulation. He can't just like completely break down the bonds of molecular control. But what he can do is spread them or shrink them. He can condense matter or spread it so that you could walk through a wall because the matter is so thin.
Mm-hmm.
Or he can phase, it's almost, you can't really hit the Vision. Because, well, he generally exists in an insubstantial state. And if he fights you, he just basically makes the tip of his fist substantial.
Mm-hmm.
Punches you with that, oh, you're going to grab him? No, you're not.
Mm-hmm.
The last bit of his fist is all that's actually there. But he carries the full momentum of his body through it.
Mm-hmm. Nice. It's like, I'm going to catch your fist. No, my fist is going to go through that and then hit you.
Mm-hmm. He fights like Kitty Pryde. Mm-hmm. Although, you want to talk about a powerful mutant for not Omega, it's Kitty Pryde. Mm-hmm. She defeats a lot of stuff like Sentinels. I'm going to walk inside of you and become real just in the middle of you so I can grab this important part and pull it out. And take it with me. Oh, you need that, don't you?
Well, if you want to talk about powerful characters that aren't Omega, Squirrel Girl.
Squirrel Girl doesn't... I mean, she counts.
She doesn't count because she's a joke character, but I don't give a fuck because she's awesome.
She beat Thanos in one-on-one combat.
Off screen, but whatever.
Yeah. And she's walking away like...
What was that line from, with Doctor Doom? She and Wolverine get caught or something, right?
No, she and Iron Man get caught by Doctor Doom. Because, she ambushes Iron Man to be like, I want to be your sidekick, I'm a hero. And Iron Man's like, what the fuck is this shit? And then Doctor Doom's like, I'm going to scoop y'all up and capture you. And so Iron Man's like, fuck, I'm captured. And then she's like, oh, well, okay, I'm going to escape. And then flying over a forest, she uses her empathic connection to squirrels to summon squirrels onto the ship, which start gnawing through the wires and start jumping Doctor Doom. Not like they can actually hurt him, but it's a distraction. And he's like, for every one of these creatures I swat, 10 more vex me. And, she beats Doctor Doom that way.
Flat out.
Yep. She beats Thanos. She beats Deadpool. Although Deadpool was beat because he couldn't fight her because he was too amused by the concept of a Squirrel Girl.
She's just too squirrely to hit.
Yeah, that's her power. She's super squirrely. You go to hit her, she's not there. Which, if you think about it, is ridiculously powerful.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's kind of like the opposite of the one character. Her power's luck.
Oh, Domino?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of
I wonder
that.
if Domino
It's the
could hit
defensive
her.
version of her thing.
I wonder if Domino could hit Squirrel Girl.
Now that would be a fight.
Yeah.
Earlier I was thinking, that's a big issue, is that when nerds talk about that who would win in a fight thing, it's usually in terms of power, but it's more important strategy. That's what I was thinking. With Thanos, that he'd be able to beat the Phoenix, no matter the form or whatnot, so long as he has the Infinity Gauntlet, because he has so much strategy at his disposal. Yes. But with that's just a conundrum of a fucking match.
You can't hit Squirrel Girl, but Domino doesn't miss.
Well, wait a minute, but does her luck outstrip that?
Who knows?
Because, it's
Super
luck.
Squirrely has never been explained.
True, but my point is that super squirrely is, you can't be hit because you're moving around a lot, right?
Mhm.
But the fact is that luck supersedes that, does it not?
Normally, I'd say yes, except she beat Thanos. Thanos couldn't hit her.
Then at that point, it's that yeah,
Thanos
she really
goes
is just
beyond luck.
she just automatically is a really broken joke character.
She is, and that's part of her point.
Mhm.